Good day, everyone. Do you know what's our topic on this video today? Our topic is scatterplot. But before we topic the scatterplot, what's our objective? First objective, learn and understand the scatterplot. Second, learn to determine and evaluate the coloration. Lastly, learn the part of the scatterplot. Are you questioning what is scatterplot? Based on the screen below, scatterplot is a graph that shows the relationship between two variables using points on a Cartesian plate. Each point represents a pair of values from the x-axis and y-axis. It helps us understand the trend or direction of the data, positive, negative, or no coloration, and the strength of the relationship based on how close the points are. The independence variable is placed on the x-axis, while the dependent variable is on the y-axis. In short, a scatter plot helps us easily see patterns and relationship between data. So, in short term, scatter plot is a full of point in the Cartesian plate, and you can create a Cartesian plate using the x and y axis. The x the x-axis is the independent, while the y-axis is the dependent variables. After that, we will topic the part of scatterplot. Scatterplot have 7 parts. The first one is the axis. The second is data points or markers. Third is label and titles. Fourth is scales and tick marks. Fifth is trend line. Sixth is clutters and outliers. And lastly, legend. So, what are these 7 parts of scatterplot? We will topic first is the axis. Axes have x-axis and y-axis. The x-axis, which is the horizontal axis, this usually represents the independent variable or the variable you think might cause a change, while the y-axis is a vertical axis. This usually represents the dependent variable or the variable you are measuring for a response. Next is data points or markers. Each dot on the graph represents a single observation in the dataset. Its position is determined by its coordinates, x and y, where x is the value on the horizontal axis and y is the value on the vertical axis. Third is labels and titles. Labels and titles have 2 parts, which is chart title and axis labels. Chart title has a brief description of what the plot is showing. The example of this is height versus weight of student. Axis labels, this tells you what each axis represents and should include the units of measurement. An example of this is weight in kg or temperature in Celsius. The fourth is scale and tick marks. Scale and tick mark is the number along the axis that indicates the range of the data. The ticks are the small lines marking specific intervals. A good scatter plot has a consistent scale that makes the data easy to read. The fifth trend line, or what we call line of best fit. Trend line, while not always present, a trend line is often added to show the general direction of the data. It helps determine the correlation, positive, negative, or none, between the two variables. Positive correlation is dots go up from left to right, while negative correlation is dots go down from left to right, and no correlation is dots are scattered randomly with no clear pattern. The second to the last is cluster and outliers. Cluster is a group of data points that are positioned close to each other, indicates a commonality, while outliers is a data points that fall far away from the rest of the group. These are often interesting because they representing the unusual or unexpected results. Lastly is legend. What is a legend? In a chart or graph, a legend, or what we call also called a key, is a visual guide that explains what different colors, symbol, or line styles represent. It is essential when you are comparing multiple groups of data on a single graph. In short term, a legend is used to explain what different colors or shape of dots represent. Let's try to evaluate this example. There are two examples here, and the example first is studying versus test score or positive correlation. This is a classic academic example where one variable directly impacts the other. The x-axis or the independent variables is the hours spent studying, while the dependent or y-axis is the test score. The data points of this example is most that form a clear pattern moving upward to the right. The trend line is a line sloping upward, indicating that more studying time generally leads to higher score. The outlier is a student who studied for 10 hours but scored a 30, or perhaps they were unwell or studied the wrong material. The example number 2 is the car mileage versus resale value, which is negative correlation. How is this negative correlation? This demonstrates how a scatter plot can show a negative relationship where one value goes up as the other goes down. The x-axis, which is the independent variable of this example, are total kilometers driven, while the dependent variable or y-axis is the sale price, or we can use in pesos. The data points that dots start high on the left and move lower as they go to the right. The trend line of this example is a downward sloping line showing that higher mileage usually means a lower price. A cluster is a group of dots near the 100,000 kilometer, representing commonly 3 years old sedans being sold at a similar price point. Lastly, example number 3. Shoe size versus intelligent quotient or no correlation relationship. In a scatter plot showing no correlation, there is no visible pattern or relationship between the two variables. One variable does not predict the others. The independent or the x-axis of this example is the shoe size, while the dependent or y-axis variable is the IQ score. The data points of this example are the dots are scattered randomly across the graph. They do not form a line or a curve. The trend line of this example is if you try to draw a trend line, it would be a flat, horizontal line, indicating that as a shoe size increases, the IQ stays roughly the same since there is no connection between them. The logic is having bigger feet doesn't make someone smarter or less intelligent. Therefore, these two sets of data are unrelated or not connected. This is the example of how to plot and what is the x and y axis. As you can see, the y axis, which is the horizontal, is depending on the x axis, which is the independent variable. And this is how to plot. The first number in the problem is the x-axis, while the second number in the plot is the y-axis. So bale, laging nakadepende si y-axis kay x-axis. bawal sila pagbaligtarin, at laging nauuna si X before si Y. And paano mo ba malalaman kung paano'y plot? Malalaman mo may plot, plot sila kung saan sila magtatagpo. Doon mo sila ipa-plot kung saan sila magmi-meet or mag-intersect. Hindi sa iba, hindi sa malayo. Doon sa kung saan sila magmi-meet. Now, let's assess whether you learned something or not. I will give you only 5 seconds to answer each question. The part 1 of this assessment is multiple choice. Select the best answer for each question. The first question is the answer of this question are letter B. The next question is have you answered the question? The answer of this question are letter C. The next question is the answer of this question are letter C. The fourth question are the answer of this question are letter B. Lastly, last question. Do you know the answer? The answer of this last question are letter A. Have you correctly answered the first 5 questionnaire? If you correctly answered that, we will go to the part 2, which is true or false. I will give you 30 seconds to answer these 3 true or false questionnaire. So, let's start. Time's up. The answer of this questionnaire are first is false. It would be a flat or horizontal line. The second questionnaire are true. And the last is false. That would be a positive coloration. If you go this far on this video, it means you learned something. This is the last part or na part 3. Short answer and logic. There are 2 questionnaires that you will see on this screen. Your answer will be seen in the comment section, so don't forget to put your answer in the comment section. And that's settle our lesson today. Bye bye. Don't forget the answer of the part 3. Thank you.